our first game against CLG. I just remember killing someone across the map with my ult. It was a KS, I remember.
And this is going to be a massacre for Team SoloMid. Wild Turtle gets a double kill.
2 years ago, I was playing at MLG Anaheim, and we won the game in the most ridiculous way.
Double kill, triple kill for the end. The minions backdoor the base.
All of our games are always really ridiculous. It's pretty rare that CLG vs TSM is super one-sided.
Welcome back. We're setting up for our marquee matchup, Team SoloMid versus Counter Logic Gaming. Now, earlier in the day, we wanted to get your thoughts and questions about this hotly anticipated matchup. Our first question comes from @Colio21. As a relatively new player, I would love to get some background information on how the big rivalry began. I'm so hyped. Freak, can you illuminate us?
Yeah, so there's a lot of details that I'll drop from the discussion, but essentially, Hotshot and Reggie had a bit of beef. They made the separate teams, basically to beat each other, essentially, and those are the first, the guys that made the teams. Hotshot GG for CLG, obviously Reginald for TSM, and so they were like already like the owners had beef, and then from there they were just the two best North American teams. They were clearly the number one and number two, and they were like literally every single year until Cloud9 showed up. So like pre-season 1 until halfway through season 3, these were obviously number 1 and number 2. They would play like all the way down into like double elim, double best of 3 grand finals at 1 a.m. These two would fight neck and neck, and TSM would like always win. CLG very, very rarely, with one exception where TSM got DQ'd, did CLG ever win that matchup. So SoloMid's been getting the better of him for a long, long time.
As we know, the record has moved to 15-9 in favor of TSM going into today's matchup. Our next question comes from @NCSU Che, who asks, there have been a lot of people calling for Wild Turtle to retire. What are your thoughts? Pros, cons?
I think that Wild Turtle's positioning was something that was called into question. So kind of lighting a fire under his butt and putting him in the spotlight. There are pros and cons to that for sure. Pros are he's aware that he is trying out for his position and he needs to step up. The pressure is on him. But that's also a con, is when the pressure is on you, are you the type of person who crumbles under the pressure? Yesterday from Wild Turtle's performance, though, we didn't see him crumbling under the pressure. He delivered yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to say, yesterday suggests that he is going to step up to the plate, and it's only going to be a boon to TSM and their performance the rest of the split. Next up, we have @CeloGragas, who says, are these the most dynamic solo lane players in the history of this rivalry?
I like that Twitter handle.
It's a pretty sweet name.
Yeah, it is good. To answer the specific question of who is more dynamic, I would say definitely in terms of both these lineups, Zion Spartan is the most dynamic CLG top laner we've had. Pobelter is probably the most dynamic mid laner we've seen CLG have. Definitely for Bjergsen, definitely for Dyrus.
Yeah.
Most skilled for their time, it's debatable because like Reginald was around there. Hotshot GG for his time was a really good top laner, especially early on. But yeah, as far as like flexibility and like playing different roles, for sure.
All right, well, there you have it. Finally, @ArcticWolfLol wants to know, Dyrus and Doublelift have been on their teams for years, but who is more important to their respective team?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
It's a big, that's a loaded question.
I'm gonna go Doublelift.
I have an answer.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Dyrus is a really good emotional leader. I feel like he's really in tune with like how TSM is doing. He's like super focused, really hardworking dude. So I kind of edge towards Dyrus, but like both are like obviously really big for the team.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Doublelift on this one. I feel like he's the longest standing member of this team currently. He brings a lot of that veteran status to it, but also he brings the trash talk. Like a lot of people get invested in the CLG brand because of Doublelift and because of his trash talk. So if Doublelift starts, they start getting towards that first place again, you're going to see that come out, and people are going to be like, yeah, this is the CLG that we were all talking about.
Doublelift on your screen right now. He's got the bandages off.
Yeah.
Still looking at his finger, though.
To be fair, though, anytime Doublelift speaks, it is trash talking. So.
Oh, freak. He can't even hear you.
He can't
Come on
defend
now.
himself.
It's fine.
All right, well, there you have it. That's all we've got from our Twitter questions. But as we throw it over to our caster desk, Doublelift and Pobelter have formed a good working relationship, which has made it easier for the carries to troubleshoot mistakes.
Yeah, Pobelter actually, he works with me a lot better than Link, because he'll always want to do something with me that requires us to like sit down and talk or like watch a replay together. So a good example is sometimes we will be on different targets in a team fight, and he'll notice and he'll write it down and he'll come to me and be like, hey, we're on different targets here. Let's like figure out what happened. And that's something that used to never happen. And I didn't really even think it was a big deal until Pobelter brought it up with me. And I think one of the reasons why we're so much better at team fighting is because, mid and AD, they're the backline. and they have to work really well together. And Pobelter and I actually, we bounce ideas off each other all the time about how we can do more damage or have like more DPS uptime, stuff like that. It's just so much easier to work with him.
Well, hopefully they've done a bit of that.
So always got to add something about Link.
Hopefully they've done a bit of that between yesterday's game and today's game, seeing a few where those arrows could come in. And now I want to welcome to the caster desk a man who can't say no to a good old-fashioned tri-cast. It's Joshua Jat Leesman.
But we have no time for pleasantries, Riv, because let's get into the game with the quick roster rundown. On the blue side, it's Team SoloMid. Top lane, we got Dyrus. Jungle, of course, is Santorin. Bjergsen in the mid lane. Wild Turtle on AD carry, and Lustboy on support.
That's right. Then
And on the red side, it's Counter Logic Gaming with Zion Spartan up top, Smithy in the jungle, Pobelter mid, Double Lift AD carry, and Afro Moose support with their coach, Zixlo.
I like you guys are loud today. Get louder.
We're trying to get on your level.
The crowd's ready as well. The seats are absolutely packed, as well they should be. Coach Loco Doku and Zixlo about to take the stage as we get into Champion Select with their teams, and there's got to be a lot of preparation that's gone into this matchup. Team SoloMid already with the 1-0 here in the summer split, and I'm sure CLG would love revenge.
Yeah, this is a death week for CLG. They had to play Team Liquid and now TSM.
Yep.
They were carrying around that ridiculous cinder block for some reason. They're trying to get a physical representation of their burden. Well, it only grew yesterday because they lost to Team Liquid, and they got to break it again against CLG.
Their physical block may have turned into an actual mental block, though, because they lost to Team Liquid as well. Don't want to continue that trend here. Remember last time, CLG, they had somewhat of an odd pick with the Smithy on Lee Sin last time around, and didn't get to do much on that pick early on. Already 2 jungle bans focused at him, so we are going to go deeper into the jungle pool.
This has happened in all the games today. We've seen the double jungle bans, so, or at least in the last game.
Or double
That's
pick.
right.
Yeah, triple jungle ban actually with the Echo if you consider it, so that definitely stretches the jungle champion pool. Lee Sin, Nidalee, Sejuani, all those things will be on the table later on in the pick and ban phase.
Bard getting taken out from Afro Moose. Still plays to be made there from CLG, and they don't want him on a champion that is made to roam. So they take that away from him. One final band. It is going to be the Rise top. Dyrus with the first pick may just be taking his lane.
Sivir?
Yeah, the Alistar still left up. That has actually been a few first picks today.
I like it. Ban Bard, pick Alistar, 2 of Afromu's favorites, 2 of his best performing champions as well. Pretty good early round here for TSM, all things considered. Mid lane left wide open though. And the counter pick is CLG's to choose.
Yeah, this'll... I wonder if CLG will go with conventional things or if they're going to stretch to slightly different things like yesterday. I mean, the TF Ashe Bard comp that they did yesterday was cool in theory, but with some executional mistakes, it kind of fell apart. Here, though, you'd think they'd pick a Sivir comp in group.
True enough, Sivir on the board and Kalista banned, so that does spring to mind. Wild Turtle can play Vayne into it if they so choose.
Showing some love here,
the other
taking
thing,
off any nerves.
With all the jungle attention, Nunu does rise quite quickly in priority for me when you do get to move towards this stage of the game. Evelyn is still up though, also is pretty good into it. But yes, hit the nail on the head there with the Sivir.
It's what happens.
Classic.
Yeah, Kalista banned Sivir's higher priority, which is why you may have expected it from TSM with the first pick, but TSM opted for the strong support initiation. So with that, I see TSM maybe going for some early turret dives. The game we just saw, the Alistar, Maokai, Lee Sin was like best-in-class turret divers across the board.
Yeah, that was
and we saw
pretty
Team
good.
Impulse get a big early advantage.
Italy, okay. I kind of like a Nunu better here, though. Especially against a comp that already has a Sivir and the possibilities of Flash Gnar engages. If you already have Alistar as a front line and you add Nunu to that, your endgame DPS is great with the Nunu Blood Boil on his ear. All right, they forgo the jungle. We won't lock it in quite yet.
They did allow the Sivir to go away yesterday and pick the Jarvan into it, keep it locked in still. First time we've seen Santorin on that. Not picked up yet, though. The Azir has been by Bjergsen. And let's see, the Rumble will be locked in for Dyrus in the top lane, so he is definitely going to have a bit more impact here. Not just a tank for the team, but he's going to be throwing out the DPS.
Yeah, Pobelter and Bjergsen are 2 of the NA mid laners who have put a ton of games onto Azir, which makes it a priority pick, not only in general, but specifically in this matchup.
Bjergsen more recently as well.
Yeah, Bjergsen more recently. Pobelter in the last time the TSM played CLG was nearly the reason that CLG was able to come back. He had some spectacular Azir plays in the team fights, but ultimately CLG fell.
Yeah, and especially with LeBlanc being nerfed, Sivir already being locked in, the Varus definitely loses value. You usually like to combo with something like Corki, so they go with mid lane AP poke instead of mid lane AD poke. Kog'Maw locked in, and there is the Evelynn.
Second time might be a charm.
Yep.
0, 6, and 3 on that Evelynn yesterday.
Ah, taking a page out of Move's book here.
He played it yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good. I mean, now you can lock down a Sivir and a Kog'Maw in the same spot. They're going to have to flash out no matter what. No tumbling or dodging out for these AD carries or DPS dealers. Interesting pickups by Team SoloMid, going with the Jarvan they did last time, Wild Turtle, to go back on a Tristana play. I shouldn't even say back. That'll be #1 here for the summer split.
I do like the Jarvan lock-in here because a Kog'Maw is very vulnerable to Cataclysm spam, and that just means getting his flash with the first one, your cooldown is extremely low, and returning to that so you can combo with the ultimate from Rumble as well and put the Kog'Maw in the hot pot. He's got only one escape, and that is Flash.
And now he has 2 because Aphromoo picks Thresh with the very last pick, saving the support till the very end. That's kind of a nice little counter at the very end of Champion Select. If I look at these teams holistically, though, I see TSM wanting a lane swap early on in the game, pushing down turrets quickly, and also trying to abuse the turret diving potential early of a Jarvan and an Alistar. Those two will be able to turret dive frequently throughout the game, whereas CLG, I think, has to play the lanes quite defensive for at least the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, obvious. They've got that Kog'Maw AP, wants to scale up. Tilly hits Luden Zeko, a level 11. Will be the waiting game. Smithy, though, on the Evelynn.
I don't want more waiting game. We've had way too much waiting game today.
Yeah. You're done waiting, Riv?
Done waiting.
Game.
All right.
Game.
It's time to get the fights on. It's time to get the game going. Everybody locked in with their champions now. Team SoloMid versus Counterlogic Gaming to go live. TSM back in week 2, able to grab this victory for themselves. And as you know, it's always time to head over to Twitter once the champions are locked in and show the team some love. So tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag TSMWin or the hashtag CLGWin, and we'll be updating that fan poll throughout the game. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go live with El Clasico. We've been waiting for this match all day. The crowd's ready. Everyone at home is ready. And we 3 on the desk, we're more than ready. Let's get jump into this match. TSM on the blue side, CLG on the red. And we are on to the Rift. In-house fans of Team SoloMid seem to be more abundant today, but the Counterlogic Gaming chants are still there underneath the chants of the TSM. The fans still ready to get behind their team. Doublelift now with the cast off, with the bandages off, back at full.
Yeah, I mean, the last time this matchup in the spring split happened for a battle for first place was when both TSM and CLG were 5-1. Obviously, this is their second matchup in the summer. But still, 7-2 is an incredibly impressive record for both of these teams, and it's still a match for that first place. A lot of pressure, a lot of fandom on the line, and this game will be a good determinant of who's better next for the end of the split.
Oh, Smithy.
Oh, go into pulverize Smithy. He went down first yesterday. He goes down first again in a bad spot. Again at the wrong time. Doublelift and the rest of the team have a lot of follow-up DPS here.
The base
stop, though.
How does that happen? 2 games in a row for Smithy to die within the first 2 levels.
Well, it's a base check into the pixel brush. That is never recommended, whether you're invisible or not.
Oh, man. What a way to start this game.
I'm going to go back.
Yeah, we're going to see that again.
Yeah, continue.
Both teams headstrong in the idea they had in the beginning of the game, but TSM with the team in mind while they were doing it. See, CLG thinking they could sneak one person in for a deep ward there.
Yeah, he got the ward at least.
He got it.
Yeah, so
this happens again.
He was following Santorin in. He thought it was just a jungler, but there's no vision on literally anyone else. It's a careless move without a Thresh or something right behind you that could counter with the Flay. You're against an Alistar at level 1, one of the most formidable level 1 opponents in League of Legends.
Right.
Yeah, we can't justify that, so we can stop trying.
It's a big mistake.
The boomerang also going full after the Jarvan instead of going to the brush could have alerted them, but yeah. They open door number 1 and get an Alistar into the face.
You don't have to open a door that early. There's no point in the risk.
Well, we'll see what TSM can use out of this. Very, very fast first blood, and everybody was able to get participation in that. The kill going over to Wild Turtle to get a Tristana going early helps even more for their bot lane. And Alframu just seconds short of actually picking himself up a kill on Dyrus.
So it is the lane swap that we thought was going to be happening. There's no flash on Lustboy's Alistar, so the eventuality of a turret dive is a little bit diminished. Maybe we wouldn't see a mid lane turret dive later on in the game, but still lane swap with the Trist, able to push on her own.
Right. Plus TSM, they have the possibility of, you know, getting a 3 buff. Now, 3 buff itself doesn't hold as much value as it did before. You can get just as much experience from a small camp, but the fact that they cleaned that side of the map might be of more importance, because they do have other camps to go to on that last quadrant left for mining.
Stats on Azir. We actually saw that being banned away from Phoenix earlier today out of respect. Bjergsen also good kill share and damage provided throughout a game on that. We saw him being a very big reason for them to win late game team fights recently.
So this is an interesting little tweak that TSM is doing to the 4v0. They're only sending 3 because they know they're going to kill the turret anyway, and they're using this space window to get Santorin a really big experience lead over Smithy. Smithy not only died at level 1, that didn't necessarily hurt his experience, but when he's in the lane, giving the farm to others and just kind of trading between 4, but Santorin is actually clearing 3/4 of the jungle. That's what's going to be what puts Santorin ahead by a pretty wide margin.
Yep, looking to freeze that lane for CLG. But yeah, basically the extra quadrant of jungle that TSM were able to farm, it wasn't just a buff steal away, getting small camps as well. A lot of extra resources there on the map just for them to be able to get, and that's where they've got this big gold lead in addition to that first blood boost.
Ooh, just watching Zion in the top lane. He's actually missing quite a bit of this free CS. It's going to hurt with these guys not really having any levels. He's on it. He'll get it locked down. Just a lot of caster minions focus firing on one.
Smithy's looking to punish the solo lane here. Dyrus pushing up. But because W5D2 didn't get back to lane in time, it's going to be difficult to pull off.
Flash.
This could help quite a bit. Right into the turret. Wow.
A rare mistake there from Afro, and Dyrus pulls off the very small baby sidestep while slowed from the play, but it's enough.
Wild Turtle to the top lane to stop any of this nonsense of free farming Zion Spartan. Hopefully he can start pushing that in.
That's a bunch of
himself.
Yeah, Riv, that's a bunch of misplays we've seen. Just little minor things from CLG.
Right.
Missed CS by Zion on the top lane when he had a small window before the lane was going to get pushed in. Afro down at the bottom side. Yes, Dyrus was able to juke that, but flaying into a hook. Also, Smithy just kind of jumped the gun, it felt like, or half hesitation in going for that Dyrus gank. And the face check early on in the game. Definitely not the way CLG wants to start out if they're looking to get their first win against CLG or Team Liquid this year.
Yeah, only makes it harder that everything has been fizzling out in favor of Team SoloMid here. 6 minutes in, CLG getting a push down on the bottom side as top getting pushed in now from Wild Turtle. Junglers sharing each other's side of the top and bottom now as these turrets soon to fall.
Yeah, Pobelter doesn't have Ghost. He still does have Flash.
Oh, man.
He can flash the first part of the combo here.
Nice.
Even need to.
The puddle was very well placed by Pobelter right there. You can see TSM's strategy is mimicking their champion select, though, just in the way they're playing the lanes. Already taking the 2 other turrets with Tristana and then looking for mid lane turret dives with Alistar. That's how they're supposed to be using these champions.
Yeah, even pre-6, looking to pile in there and punish the Kog'Maw. Very vulnerable. W5D2 can even up the turrets at his leisure, though. Just wait around and deny as many minions as possible.
Also, just a tad ahead in CS. Hope that he's behind on that kill so far that Wild Turtle has. I go back to the bottom lane, maybe able to work something off of this. No jungle pressure. W5D2's just really trying to get the wave killed as much as possible. Poll calculated 67 to 33 so far, and I'm sure a few of those votes were just in the first minute as we saw Smithy go down for that first blood. Still something CLG is trying to repair, but just about 1,000 gold lead is still a game here between TSM and CLG.
Pobelter has to be really, really careful. Hug the bottom side of the map too, where they have all their ward coverage, their strong side. As Jarvan, definitely one of the champions to punish Kog'Maw very easily as we went over.
Yeah. You can see the average blades on both the AD carries as well.
Again, yeah.
Since they've already taken down the 2 side waves, I wonder how much passivity we're going to be seeing from CLG throughout this, knowing that they're already playing from a deficit and they have a tier Kog'Maw in the mid lane who won't be that relevant until he completes at least Luden's Echo. Basically, that early mistake will create a lot of passivity for CLG, who sometimes likes to make plays. We knew they were going to have to play passive early game regardless against the Alistair potential roam. This just kind of exacerbates that point about their team composition a bit more.
Going to that late game, going to be quite hard to fight against the Dyrus if he gets any more Fad Wild Turtle as well. Zion Spartan's going to have to get pretty big in his lane to get through the damage that's going to come through on the front line. Things looking good for TSM as they slowly hold on to what lead they have right now. Not looking to pressure it or put themselves in any dangerous positions just yet. Pobelter in mid lane staying safe as well as he stacks tier here. TSM always knows and feels that they have better mechanical prowess in the late game fight, so if it comes to that, they're more than happy to.
So Dyrus, luckily for him, his wave is pushing towards him already anyway. So even taking out that pink ward and even having Smithy up there, not in quite so much danger because they do have 2 pink wards in the river. So if he comes up that way, then he would have an alert system. Smithy could go for a lane gank, but he's gotten so low trying to clear his jungle. He's not going to have that presence.
I mean, this is
Loses out on that trade.
This is a very similar Evelyn game to what xSmithy had against Team Liquid. A mistake early, and Evelyn's one of those junglers who you really don't want to fall behind on because it's all about her pressure within her first couple of items in those power spikes, because there's no item build currently that really scales well for Eve to make her a late game threat. You're always just kind of mix and matching components. He'll be late to his warrior outbreak. He was late with early pressure. He's going to be late to this entire game for the most part, and the rest of COG has to make plays.
Sivir ultimate teleport in.
Yep, Zion got in already. Nice hit. They are going to be able to get a slow onto Turtle here. He's not going to be going too far without boots, and he goes down.
Take advantage of the long lane. Duo pushed up here for TSM, and the teleport for Dyrus.
Yep. And xSmithy had just been back to base as well, so he will be full health. Santorin, I thought TSM was going to be trying to force a dragon shortly, but thanks to that Sivir ultimate timing with the collapse from Zion Spartan's teleport, they could go for this one. It's going to be hard for TSM to contest. Azir and Trist back in the base. They'd have to teleport in with Rumble to go for something.
Santorin looking to go in here. He's level 6 double buffs.
They have good coverage for the fight. Double lift just below them with 0 mana on the fight,
The longer they wait here, the more likely it is they're going to teleport in.
So much free damage from that dragon. Very, very low goes Zion Spartan, and very, very down he is as well. Pobelter right in the front, not where he wants to be. He's trying to walk out of this one. Smithy's able to come up with the dragon for the team as they hightail it out of there. 1 harpoon, the attack, 2 harpoon as Dyrus overheats. It doesn't activate.
Not
He already had that first one shot. Now on to double lift. He came into this one with no mana, trying to help the team and just put himself in a bad spot. These guys got themselves a good amount of kills across the board for Team SoloMid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
He's got to play.
He's invisible. It's fine.
For now. This is where we think he is. The observers can't see either. Let's see how the guess was. Hey, good guess.
Well, it's not a guess. They can leave it locked on him even if you can't see him.
Oh, really? You can do that?
Yeah.
All day.
Today I learned.
But he is going to get out of it with his life. And they did get the dragon because Santorin smoked the dragon for some health there to survive and able to continue the fight. The first early dragon here, though, because TSM have the global gold lead, probably won't need that much.
The whole setup to this fight was just TSM stalling COG on that dragon and waiting for Bjergsen to arrive so that COG would have to completely bail out. Yes, they got the dragon, but then since the collapse arrived, there was really no chance for the rest of COG. COG was not committing their damage onto the dragon when they had the window to take it, when Azir and Triss were down bottom, and they ended up getting caught in a very poor fight.
And unfortunately for them, the money went to Dyrus there. Dyrus getting that kill is huge for the next dragon fight. So COG are going to have a really hard time using that Dragon to try and stack up, even though they have timing and they've got one already. TSM are going to have a huge advantage when the next one does come up. Dyrus is going to be fully ready to roll.
Getting earlier Dragons in the past 2 games than our average with these 4-0 lane swaps coming in to take that turret down. Good ward keeps Wild Turtle alive that he just placed down on the top side.
There's a lot of pressure the TSM is trying to apply right now onto CLG, getting deep wards within that jungle. Even if they don't get kills, the map pressure is pretty immense. All the while they're doing this, they're leaving a window for Bjergsen to take the mid lane.
Scary, scary thing if you're going to be fighting an Alistar and a Rumble in those choke points in the jungle. CLG is forced to back off. But like you said, Jat, mid-chart was already going down, and TSM is working off the ball very well right now, making sure they're getting more than one thing every time they act on it.
Yeah, it's always that line that you tread when you are going for the split push. We saw it bite Wild Turtle last time, not able to get out of the lane with Sivir Ultimate. This time, though, Doublelift wasn't quite there to assist the CLG gang squad with the Sivir Ultimate, so he's going to try and use it on the bottom lane.
Oh, Dyrus gonna go down. Not much he can do here. Turns and retreat for the Flame Spitter. But that definitely goes to Aphromoo, and that's definitely not what they wanted. 2-0-1 for him now.
I feel like that was an unnecessary ignite from Aphromoo. They had the 3v1.
Right.
And that's only going to lead to an accidental KS. That's now the second kill from Aphromoo.
Especially when you bring the fight to the teleport.
And there, TSM, they continue with this split push strategy, but they weren't applying pressure in any of the other lanes there. Bjergsen had gone back to get blue, and Turtle can't really pressure Zion up to the turret. Tristana, yes, she can take down turrets if she's left alone with them, but the threat there from Gnar, fully stacked up on Rage, not enough to gain anything out of the split from Dyrus there, who was vulnerable on the bottom side with no wards and no tower. So CLG, that's the second time they've punished a TSM split with a Sivir Ultimate. And TSM, once again, not really respecting the distance that you can close with that Sivir Ultimate. And yeah, that's 2 kills.
This is going to be tough for Pobelter now.
Smithy just got pushed around in the jungle by Wild Turtle as well. We saw he had to use his ultimate. Wild Turtle just jumping on him in the jungle. I do have to note, Kobe, though, I was told by the observers that they were following Evelynn by best guess. They confirmed they did not lock onto Evelynn.
Ooh.
So,
okay, can you lock onto Evelynn, though?
We'll have to find out later. This will be the secondary storyline to our TSM CLG mega match.
Observer Easter eggs at 11. 15 minutes into this game, 4-3 here, and slight gold lead for TSM. They look to push the bottom lane now. This is Bjergsen now working the mid lane by himself, so we'll see if he can actually get more pressure. Nobody's actually reacting to that. Looks like he can get some good damage down, especially with soldiers.
All right.
Yeah.
Pobelter so close to completing this loot, and CLG just want to hold on.
But yeah, it's a 2-level disadvantage in the mid lane because of the pressure the TSM's been able to apply. And yes, Bjergsen with the Azir and the Tristana. This is a turret-killing composition that TSM can try and snowball the game with, since they had that early advantage and they are split pushing and just trying to create turret dive threat. As far as the quickness of taking down turrets, matching those two up, Azir and Trist, I don't think you can find a combo that bursts them faster.
Yeah, but as you get deeper and deeper, they get harder and harder to take. And I always want to caution against counting out the team with the AP Cog mid. With these kills that CLG have been able to scrape together, I mean, they're only actually down 1 turret right now.
Right.
And that makes up for pretty much the entire gold lead that TSM have. So while TSM have great map control right now, they have super deep wards because of it, and they have control of the game. Got to be very careful against, playing around with an AP Kog'Maw if CLG can play turret defense.
And a lot of the ways that CLG has gained their advantages there is based on the Sivir Ultimate and the team collapsing around it. The two people that CLG have ahead with Doublelift and Zion Spartan, those advantages basically come from the kill onto Wild Turtle and the kill on Dyrus while they were trying to push those side waves, and it has contained their ability to farm. All the while, of course, Bjergsen has been pushing up the mid lane.
Well, it will be imperative for CLG at least to grab back the bottom half of the jungle. Pobelter with that damage is going to need his blues. And with Dragon now about to go in favor of Team SoloMid, they can back up.
Blue buff when he has Ludens is just the most important thing.
I think this Dragon does go over to TSM and CLG make the call to continue with their split push with Zion. It would be pretty difficult for them to go for this one just because, Pobelter's still not level 11. So I think they're fine with giving that one up, and both teams will get their 6%. walking through these jungle corridors into an Azir that is as strong as you pointed out there is very, very, very difficult. So.
Giving respect where they need to, playing it safe so they can actually have a better mid to late game. Counter Logic Gaming does not contest the Dragon. Definitely a lot more action within this one. Teams a bit more ready to start fighting here 20 minutes into the game, but no real swing to the game just yet.
Without
TSM, a bit of a lead.
Yeah, TSM, I'm looking for them to use Dyrus because he got that. The fact that he got that kill, he does have the flat penetration for his Rumble, and Azir can't. Azir plus Alistar have so much of an ability to control the enemies on the battlefield, so much displacement here on the TSM team. They can set up a really good fight if they choose the correct terrain, and Santorin creates the correct terrain for them with that Jarvan ult.
What I find interesting about that is that most of TSM's abilities will be flashed out of and then become really ineffective, and since it's been so long since we've seen a team fight, TSM needs to create some smaller fights to burn the summoner spells if they're going to win a big landslide of a team fight. We talked about Pobelter needing his flash up most of the time, how Santorin can just blow his flash with Cataclysm and then get him again. Well, has he even Cataclysm Pobelter yet? We haven't had the opportunity to, but before we see the game-changing fight, I think we have to see a game-altering fight.
And that's something that people have been on Santorin for at various moments when he opts for a lot of hard farming routes rather than going for lane pressure. Yeah. Jarvan though Jarvan does have 2 gap closers, and Kog'Maw only has 1 flash. You can still make a play without 2 visits.
So, a bit of a stalemate as the resources are grabbed, the camps are picked up, and waves are pushed into the spots that teams are going to want them now. A little bit of preparation here before they make their next moves. And this could actually work out for Team SoloMid as they're making their way towards an empty jungle. Still forward wards getting pushed in their favor. That does not look like they will find any CLG members just yet. Even in CLG's mind, they know they have to respect the composition and play safe.
Yeah, TSM want a fight now, whereas CLG would rather trade objectives. So they sent Doublelift down bottom. Sivir can quickly pressure a lane and clear the minion wave. The problem is that they don't have a lot of vision to perfectly call that trade. So blue buff goes away. There's your deny of the level 11 Kog'Maw Luden blue that you're looking for. And TSM are able to split their resources. Doublelift has to recall, and TSM have control.
Definitely something we should keep an eye on. 25 minutes just around for the next blue buff. We'll see what TSM's positioning is there. Right now it's the mid. Flash for a flash. Bjergsen's out for the better. Aframu still will be able to try for a hook later, just not as big as a long-range engage.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder for CLG to keep up their farm as well as they lose more and more control of the map here. Pobelter's not near a point where he can be super effective. He has the Ludens, but 2-level disadvantage and no blue buff keeps him at bay.
421 stacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CLG's direction of Doublelift is paramount right now. They have to utilize this Sivir and Kog'Maw wave clear very efficiently. If they blink for 1 second and TSM gain 1 minion wave, they can take down that last turret so quickly. That's why we see the rotation there was very quick for CLG to send Doublelift up top and take out that minion wave.
And it's going to be difficult for CLG to find team fights as well, even if they have a slight jump, because there are 3 spells that displace CLG backwards on TSM side. Azir, Tristan, Alistar can all push you away from a fight, and it's just so much vision control on top of the difficulty to initiate.
Also think about who they can separate. If they Cataclysm somebody, you can just say, nope, we're pushing the rest of you away. Very interesting options that they have. But option of Baron, it's like, is not one of those. They get pushed off 2 minutes on to the Dragon, so they still want to stay healthy for that situation as well.
If TSM want to play that a little bit more aggressively, the Baron was at half when they pulled off, and it was just a Sivir and a Thresh closing in. A little bit of fear of a Baron throw is what stopped TSM from doing that one. Zion hadn't even begun to channel his teleport. I think that could have been a TSM Baron in a big game swing.
TSM do have both mid turrets down, so if they were able to get deeper vision inside this red buff jungle, returning to that sort of play, definitely an option. Dragon coming up, though, in a minute means that a much less risky neutral objective available for them to pull out. the CLG squad. CLG obviously going to be looking for the poke before the end of the day. Top silver ultimate.
Hopefully that poke building up for them. Just under 500 stacks. Pobelter has quite a while not really being able to farm anything or have these fights to charge up in. It's going to be difficult. Still able to poke, just not with that blue.
Yeah. And the most interesting thing about this game for me is how the difference in pressure is not reflecting in the gold right now. It's a 1,000 gold game with equal dragons on both sides. And even now, it's just a 1 level difference in the mid lane, but that is mirrored in the top lane, and Smithy's actually out-leveling Santorin at this point. So
yeah, after the beginning.
For all that CLG's been getting pushed in, they're not getting punished in incredibly powerful ways. They're staying really, really close and could maybe even contest this dragon fight if they did it just right.
CLG does usually stay focused very well in situations where they're determining what's beating them down and how it's happening. Both of these teams are actually pretty good at that. It's the late game fights that have been plaguing them. It looks like they're going to pressure each other into that situation here. Only 4-3 at 23 minutes. Not a lot is gained after fights. I think we're going to get the long haul here and hope the players are ready for it. Dragon is alive, probably going to be our next matchup. And it's going to be just about 1.5 minutes for CLG's blue as well. So this could lead right one into the other.
CLG, though, have been able to get the Scuttle Crab as well. So they've got positioning, they've got vision, they have a speed boost, they have everything they need here.
Yeah, the only thing they could use is a blue buff on Pobelter, but they have to be careful not to take too much damage from the dragon. This is what happened last time, which prepped them for a bad fight. This will start if the top laners decide to teleport in.
Santorin looking with Lustboy to dive into this one. The Voidoo's hit. Santorin looking to go in. Lustboy gets a very nice 3-man pulverize. Santorin still does not want it just yet. Lustboy's going to die by himself. He's left. Looks like the dragon will also be picked up here in a bit of hesitation as Zion Spartan came in with the teleport. It's what caused TSM to balk on engaging.
A bit of a strange fight there. No one willing to follow up on Lustboy, maybe waiting for the disengage. And I feel like Zion's teleport from the backside dissuaded TSM from following Lustboy. But for whatever advantage that TSM had built up, not being able to capitalize on it in a mid-game team fight like that is a little bit perplexing.
Very big miscommunication there for TSM.
Oh boy.
Double F though.
Oh my lord.
He didn't even need to hit the full equalizer. Hot damn. Dire is cooking up double lift in the bot lane. And CLG, if they're starting to get kills across the map here and Dragons when they shouldn't be, things are going to start falling in their favor.
I mean,
regardless.
We saw 1 kill for each team. Secondary Dragon, the bonus is not really meaningful, and they've already traded a 1 Dragon, so the stack not going to be that big of a deal until we get later into the game as well. So, pretty much where we were before.
Yeah, let's keep playing. CLG is still down in turrets, and the Baron, I think, is the avenue in which TSM should probably pressure if they can get the correct vision denial and actually follow up on another initiation like that from Lustboy. The potential is really huge for a big initiation, not to mention the kill distribution on CLG. It has half their kills on Aframu, so with the gold being close, the spread of the gold is actually non-ideal for CLG.
Over, Pobelter has his blue, finally able to start charging that puppy up. He needs to get that extra shield for himself to stay safe in these fights. Lustboy's been going in quite hard with Santorin, except for the last fight. See if they can get back onto the same pages. It's all about the mid lane now. Bjergsen right behind the team with blue buff himself as they set up base just outside CLG's. Not a choke point you want to fight, and they're actually going to try to chase this. Equalizer is up, and they decide not to walk through the welcome area.
Dyrus a couple pixels away from that Zion stun landing as well. Bjergsen, though, providing so much threat with the soldiers from Azir. He's their strongest player. He's the most fed champion, and he dissuades the team. Here comes a vision play.
Said maybe we're standing on a ward, guys.
I mean, Kog'Maw at this point, vision plays are so difficult to pull off as Pobelter rises in level and the range increases. Now he's got blue buff, so
that's the big thing.
Easily able to check these brushes.
Blue buff and his tier upgraded.
Yep, sorcery elixir as well. He's just chugged through. You can see that on him. Pobelter standing strong. 4 in the mid lane now. Like Smithies might be trying to grab Raptor here so they can get up and make sure they're not getting caught on vision. If they try to get a side swipe, Bjergsen almost able to take down Doublelift with a few casts there. Soldiers probably would have zeroed him out quite fast.
That cautionary tale of the boy who played around with the AP Kog'Maw.
Yeah, that one of my favorites.
Here, it's begun. This is the AP Kog'Maw poke. Pobelter has carried numerous games already this split by getting to a later game version of AP Kog'Maw. TSM has even lost a game having 5 Dragons up against Cloud9 because of Incarnation's AP Kog'Maw. It's a very dangerous and real threat here.
It puts a lot of pressure on TSM to make a game-changing all-in play. So they have to have confidence. They also have to have timing. And something that they have been able to beat CLG at in the past is execution on team fights in the mid game. So yes, they are in a pinch and they do have the pressure on them. It's on the onus of this team fight is on TSM to make the play, but they have had success with it before.
Yeah.
Getting into pretty dangerous ground. Trying to walk up to a turret here. The engage from TSM is still very much there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of dangerous ground in this game for both teams. Even if you think about a fight in the jungle corridors, you don't want to fight a Rumble or an Azir in the jungle, but you don't want to fight a Gnar with all the walls around for a giant ultimate either. These teams are approaching these fights with ultimate caution because even though CLG had that whoopsie at level 1 with Xmithy that really did feel at the moment like it was going to sway against CLG since they've had a history of losing to these teams. And that would be a catalyst for them to kind of go on tilt. They have recovered, and they have turned this into a very competitive match.
It definitely took the team to do that as well. Got to make sure that Smithy got through the early part of the game safely. He wasn't countered anymore. That Zion Spartan also stayed safe and laying a few kills. Did go TSM's way due to that early game, but CLG now getting Doublelift fed, trying to get that Sivir into a position to hard carry, and trying to get Pobelter safe enough so he can do the same. Just 30 minutes in here. Team SoloMid getting to a point where the fights could go in their favor due to that mechanical prowess. Dragons in just 1 minute, so we don't have to wait long for the fight either.
Gold is dead even.
Yeah.
Doublelift intimidating the presence there too.
Seesaw game back.
See this boomerang? I don't need this. This is for the next generation. All right, well, let's see if the deeper wards from TSM do pay off, because that is one thing that they can use to pull off a flank and make that all-in play on CLG.
Not the one they want, but it is the one that they want. Santorin heads in with the Jarvan Quattro Cataclysm, locks it up for the team. Trist, Rumble, picking up kills. Dyrus and Wild Turtle very happy about that. The Shurima slide into Doublelift, tries to cut off another finger, and he's going to succeed, but goes down.
I mean, we're waiting for the game-changing play. All summoners burned right away. What a wombo by TSM, but with Bjergsen going down there, Baron damage is low. It's a lone defense right here. Pobelter coming in from the back
Zion,
side.
charge that bar!
Artillery gonna rain down.
14 Gnar, gonna get blasted away and ult the river. What timing by Wild Turtle. Team SoloMid now grabs the Baron. They're gonna turn onto Zion Spartan. If they can get that close onto Pobelter, not gonna be good. The flag and drag hits. Pobelter too close for his own good, and he gets a whack to the head from Santorin. Great plays all around from Team SoloMid. Pick up the Baron and basically ace CLG as they come back up.
Offensive line and defensive line for CLG. He is all over the place.
Headbutt into Buster Shot at the end. Let's take a look at this wombo once again, though. So they hook Lustboy vision control-wise, but that's exactly what TSM was waiting for.
Equalizer.
And it didn't even matter that CLG had flashes up.
That was
because
gorgeous.
The equalizer landed the instant the knock-up did, so the damage was dealt by the time they flashed away. Bjergsen tried to make a hero play and was mostly punished. Taking down Doublelift, though, was just enough window that TSM needed to take down the Baron.
Taking down Doublelift was huge. Imagine if Doublelift was still up right for the Baron, as you said.
Yeah.
So going down was #worth.
Once again, the team fight execution from TSM pulls them into the lead. And with that Baron buff, now they can start knocking down turrets, making use of that deeps.
Got some free time. This is where you're talking about it, chat. Once Azir and Tristan reach those turrets, not long for this world.
That was a beautiful initiation once again.
This is why Alistar is first pick, ban-worthy all across the world.
So much control the team has in the play as well. I think Bjergsen really need to get his ultimate on this one. Lustboy going in. This could be much like the Dragon fight where the team's not able to follow and they have to leave him out to dry again. Get a little hyphy on that one, but they are able to get the pickup kill onto Pobelter, a little too close to his own base wall.
They should be able to get one after that.
That's probably worth at this point. The main way to clear is Pobelter, and they still have their turret killers up.
Support for mid, that's like a pawn for the queen. You're definitely happy if you get in that situation.
Great trade.
Great trade from Team SoloMid. Onto the turret now. Bjergsen in. Back and forth. Ping pong with Pobelter. And rather ping pong with double lift. He goes down. And it's going to be Zion Spartan out to the side. He can't do much, but watch the inhibitor go down. And another member in Xmithy has fallen in this fight. It's going to be tough for CLG to hold their base if they're falling faster than the Team SoloMid members.
And they leave the scene of the crime. Can go clean up Dragon right after that. Easy pickup there for TSM. Makes the game so much easier to have that door open into the base. Inhibitor turret down on the best side for it to beat down.
What did you see that makes him want to go in? Nothing.
He's just double lift.
He saw the double lift was within range of his Sand Soldier because Bjergsen had prepped it prior, waited for his Q to come off cooldown again, therefore could get the extended range on his dash to get behind him for the ultimate. So just a nice combo there by Bjergsen on the turret, blowing up double lift and just kind of killing Xmithy by mistake.
That was his last bit of mana too, so they were ready to go in. He was like, you know what? I have one last drop. Let's take out double lift. Successful mission. They have achieved another kill in their favor. Now 14-7 here. It's about 6,000 to 7,000 gold lead as it ticks up. And Team SoloMid prepping once again on their side of the map before they head back over to the court of Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a while for neutrals to come up, so really if they just kind of close the noose here and they transfer some of their wards over from the blue side up to the red side, they can just corral CLG inside their base and starve them of the map until something comes up.
Bjergsen again throwing in that spell vamp for himself so he can stay in these fights, kind of negate that poke that he's going to be receiving. He's done it before.
Yep.
Actually had to do it within his item recipe last time. Now it's just kind of a surplus to keep him in these fights for a little bit longer.
CLG trying to absorb the extra gold there. Double lift trying to clear as quickly as possible, but that might be all that TSM need to gain position on this turret. They do have Alistar once again, and diving these secondary turrets is very easy. These are very dangerous turrets to defend, especially since this is the last one for CLG. And TSM are fielding the Dive King himself.
It's a turret-busting team composition through and through. Not only can they kill turrets incredibly fast with his Ultra Stun, they can also tank turrets better than almost any other champion in the game because of the flat damage reduction Lustboy gets from his ultimate. These turrets, it'll be interesting to see if TSM is willing to go without minions, because I think CLG can keep the minion wave back. And maybe they just wait for Baron, but we've seen some pretty aggressive moves from TSM in the last 10 minutes that could reflect otherwise.
Yeah, they do have teleport on Dyrus. They could accelerate the process of the super minions pushing into the base to try and draw some attention of CLG away, but they're not even going to commit to it. They have 5 people bursting down the turret.
Yeah, Santorin basically gone.
Yeah, Santorin gets grabbed. That means the hook is down. So is the pressure. He dunks Zion Spartan out of midair. Santorin coming big on the Jarvan plays lately. Lustboy under the turret where he needs to be with the Unbreakable Will on and gets out with just a sliver of health. They're going to be on the inhibitor. They get a perfect time and engage there without losing anybody. And they're going to wait it out. They're going to say, we want more of the base. We have another inhibitor to take down. And they got eyes on it.
There's a lot of really quality coordination coming out from TSM in these turret dives. Bursting down the turret and just dunking with Santorin going in. That's going to be inhibitor number 3 most likely.
Very, very tough to get away from the plays when TSM can close the gap from such a distance. 4 members really. Dyrus the only one that can't close it, but the equalizer's already there with the team if necessary, so they're using it great.
Yeah, it was just a great hard initiation from TSM to punish the Kog'Maw pick.
Right.
We've seen so many teams have great difficulty with successfully engaging on AP Kog'Maw comps, but TSM just get that one play from Lustboy, basically. It was the entire team following up and communication between them all to pull it off.
Lustboy, he's in can't see me mode. All right, he just wants to make sure it's clear.
Hey, buddy.
Where's TSM going? Looks like they're trying to make CLG march to the beat of their drum down mid lane here with the super minions at least. Waiting for that bottom lane that'll soon be crushing in as well. It's all just a matter of time before they put the final touches on CLG's base. Very big gold lead for TSM here. And what a game to explode in the middle for TSM. And there's the hook. Bjergsen again waiting it out to make sure he knows where the hook is going. The initiation's on. Aframu gets locked in the back, and they actually take the Lantern into the Cataclysm. So Doublelift brings himself to safety in that one.
Empty. That was from one equalizer. The Poe Belter from 98% of his health. Beautiful placement in the corridor there by Dyrus. Inhibitors down.
It's over.
It's over.
May not be a fight that they want. Zion Spartan over the wall, able to take one kill out. Staves off a bit of the aggression, but TSM, the DPS guys for the turrets are already in the base. Bjergsen and Wild Turtle able to crush these down. They turn on a Doublelift. He gets stabbed from a Azir soldier, taken down. A double kill for Bjergsen, looking for the triple if he's got the slide, but he decides to stay in place with the team, and they decide to take down the Nexus team. SoloMid on the split. 2-0 over Counter Logic Gaming for the summer in the NALCS. TSM takedown Counter Logic Gaming.
Yeah, and 4-0 for the year. This means CLG would not be able to get a win against TSM unless they meet in the playoffs.
Spring and summer, 4-0.
The domination in this matchup continues for Team SoloMid. Started at level 1, killing Xsmithy. CLG fought back pretty valiantly, evening the gold, making it exactly even about 25 or 8 minutes into the game. But then Lustboy and the whole TSM squad just decided to go.
Well, Xsmithy did repair the early game. I feel like there was still that bit of pressure they couldn't provide. If everything was level from the get-go, Eve would have done much more instead of repair the game. He did a good job at it, though. They could definitely play from behind, but Team SoloMid, if they get a lead, they don't let go of it very often.
Great job from all of the DPS members of TSM and the front line to set them up. Turtle never had one of those reckless moments. He was able to use his flash as well as his jump to stay safe for the majority of the game.
It was Bjergsen the one in the range for the hooks this time and still was able to flash out, making good plays in that. Seeing how Team SoloMid comes about the games now, really relying on their late game. Bjergsen now 4-0 on that Azir. Most played champ this split. I think he'll be getting the Phoenix treatment and that banned away from him sometimes. But it's kind of hard to ban out a mid laner like that because Bjergsen can play anything else just at that caliber as well. It's going to be difficult.
Put in the hours on Azir to get that to be a ban-worthy champion. It takes so long to become a quality Azir player.
Dyrus Rumble was great. The two big team fights that they crushed were perfectly placed Rumble ultimates. You know, following up immediately with Lustboy's moves, that they were all on the same page for that. Everybody was ready to roll as soon as he flipped the switch, flashed over the wall.
And it was a difference from that Lustboy fight as well. It's kind of like they said, you know what, that's not going to happen anymore. Lustboy's going for the best offense, it's a good defense play style, so we need to follow that, as you were saying.
That was the one hiccup there for TSM, was that Dragon fight where they had the disconnect. But they were able to cut their losses and only give up one kill.
Only slowed things down for a bit. Let's check in now with Freak and Zyrene at the Telestrator to break down TSM's victory.
Thank you very much, Riv. Great TriCast on the day. I'm here with Zyrene to do a Duo Telestrator segment about that game, of course. And early first blood aside, I think it was a bit of a slower game for the first 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, and then TSM started playing towards their composition's strengths, realizing that CLG can't really fight them in choke points, and also had a really good siege composition. Azir's going to knock down turrets, place his own. Tristana's going to knock down turrets. Alistar's going to help you dive turrets and disengage. So TSM all around were playing to their win conditions a lot better than CLG were. So we have a clip here. It's going to be one of those wombo combos that happened in the fight, really just turning the game around. We're actually accelerating the game, not turning it around. But the big thing here is Zion Spartan is top lane. He is not anywhere close to this fight. He has TP, but it's going to bust out so quickly that he can't actually make it here in time. So TSM, there's already pings on the minimap of go here. This is where we are going in. So as we roll this clip out, you see Lustboy sweeps it. He gets hooked, but this is what's going to happen. He's immediately going to pop his ultimate, break the chain, flash the wall, and he's going to go for the deepest target because this is where they're going to go. He's not going to hit Aframu. He's going to go for Poe Belter to get the biggest knockup possible. You're going to see Equalizer come out from Dyrus here across this area, and you're going to see Bjergsen throw himself this way and do damage from here in the fight. This is just going to be Also, Santorin jumps over the wall, and everybody's basically diving Kog'Maw. This is the ideal get the AP Kog'Maw. We see so many games where an AP Kog'Maw will just take over the game because he's left unchecked. This is not an AP Kog'Maw being left unchecked. You're going to see it right here as we roll this clip out, how TSM orchestrates it. Immediate ultimate from Alistar, get Poe Belter, goes a little bit further, but they knock him up into it, and it's just clean up from there. They get 2 kills immediately. Bjergsen goes up into the side and eventually gets double lift, but this leaves CLG mangled, and they're able to pick up a Baron off the back of it, and TSM close it out from there.
Yeah, Baron buff, Siege comp. How hard could it possibly be to close out the game, of course? Well executed by TSM. So Grats 2-0 on the split, 4-0 on the year. In fact, TSM crushing CLG for a very long time now. It's been good by them, but for now we've got more words from TSM members. We're going to send it down to Dash on the analyst desk.
Thank you, gentlemen. I am joined by Santorin and Bjergsen. Santorin, I'm coming to you first. As they just mentioned, 4-0 on the year against CLG. But not only do you improve that record, you guys move into first place with that win. We'll see how Dignitas does later in the day. But moving into the back half of the split, that's got to feel pretty good to come out strong.
It feels really good because it definitely felt like we played way better than yesterday. Yesterday we were really indecisive and we didn't take the leads the way we should have. And I feel like this game we were more decisive and we went in every time we had a chance.
Well, you speak about being more decisive this game. But Bjergsen, after that first blood, we did see a relatively slow game for quite some time. The gold lead hovered around 1K. So at what point did you guys feel comfortable or feel like you had the power in your composition to kind of move forward into that win?
It was really about finding a place to fight and a reason to fight, because CLG was giving up pretty much everything, like dragons, apart from the second or third dragon, they were just playing very safe and just giving up pretty much turrets and dragons, so we were just constantly looking for where are we going to fight, and we did mess up the first fight that they actually gave us an opportunity to fight, but as soon as they gave us the second one, that's where we went in and really got stuff done.
When you talk about looking for fights, I kind of want to jump into Champion Select to look at the picks that you guys went for. Alistar has been a high priority, both pick and ban for teams across the world. You know, how important is it to secure a champion like that in terms of being able to pick the fights you want? Because we saw multiple times Lustboy going in and the fight not being there, but only losing him or him being able to tank up enough. And then we saw huge initiations like the one that the guys just went through, and how Alistar is basically the setup for that.
One of our really common blind picks is Azir, and one of the very common counter picks is Kog'Maw. And Alistar does very well against Kog'Maw, like you showed just in the fight. You can just dive onto Kog'Maw, you can flank Kog'Maw, you can tower dive Kog'Maw. There's a lot of things you can do with Alistar that's very good against that. So with all the really strong champions that people usually pick, like Kalista, Gragas, were all gone, then Alistar was definitely at the top of our pool.
Now, along with the Alistar, you had the J4 that was able to follow up quite nicely with the Cataclysms. A little curious as to why you think there's so much focus on jungler bans, especially today. We've seen Echo, Gragas, and Rek'Sai fall away very quickly, and people are being relegated to J4 and Lee Sin.
So for Gragas is definitely the highest priority pick, and that's also why every purple side team bans Gragas. And we just ban Echo, Rek'Sai because we feel like those champions that they can play well, the teams we played this week, and banning those away puts us into a spot where we can play stuff like Jarvan, and we know that Jarvan is really good against Kog'Maw with Azir and stuff like that. So we just ban the champions that we feel like will be able to shut down our comp, and then we just play our.
Now, after this game, we already said you felt like you played a lot more decisively today, and that does, boast, well for you guys when we move into the latter half of the split. Bjergsen, what would be your largest criticism of the team as of right now, and what you need to improve with these last 8 games?
Well, it's a lot like the problem we had last year in the summer split, where we are doing very well in scrims and we're ending games very fast, like 30-something minutes. But then when we get on the stage, we take 45 minutes, 50 minutes to really end the game, and we have the same kind of lead. It's just about how we're pushing it. In scrims, the other teams, when they're behind, they still look for plays and they still try to do things. But on stage, people play very conservative. They like to hug towers and just play very safe and look for that super scaling. So we need to be translating the way we're ending games, really, and I think that's the biggest problem for us.
Santorin, how would you say you go about fixing that, right? We need to be more decisive, but where does that start? Is that with the individual? Is that with the team mindset?
So we've decided to pick up more aggressive junglers because we want to be able to end games. So we're going to play more aggressive style, where I'm also going to be playing more aggressive than we've used to do. And that's just to know that when we can take the lead and how far we can push the lead. So right now in scrims, we're mainly practicing stuff where we maybe lose scrims because we're trying to abuse the lead too much, but then we slowly realize how much can we abuse the lead.
Something we noticed from regions like China is that they play very aggressive and they're very willing to do things like tower diving when they're ahead. So NA is like a very passive region, so we've tried to upscale it where every time we see an opportunity where we kind of think we can dive, maybe it's a 50-50, we'll go for the dive in the scrim just to see if it'll work. And then we kind of downscale from the aggression. And that's how we're going to learn to end game faster and push our lead as hard as we can.
Look forward to seeing that aggression manifest in future games. Once again, congratulations, guys, on a huge victory against another top team there in CLG, moving yourselves ahead to that first place slot. Now, there's still a ton of action left to cover, and it continues with the new lineup for TDK challenging one of the top dogs, Team Dignitas. We'll be right back.
You feel good?
I feel good. I feel good.
I'm feeling good. You feel good?
Yeah,
it's so nice. You feeling good?
I feel okay.
You feel shut. Oh, you feel good.
Really good.
Smithy.
Oh, going to pulverize Smithy. He went down first yesterday. He goes down first again.
Look here. I'm on Afro. I'm on Afro. Nice, nice.
Oh my God.
Nice.
All really
Go
good.
back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back.
The turret now. Bjergsen in. Back and forth. Ping pong with Pole Belter. And rather ping pong with double lift. He goes down. So is the pressure. He dunks Zion's Spartan out of midair. Santorin coming big on the Jarvan plays lately. Team SoloMid 2-0 over Counter Logic Gaming for the summer in the NALCS.